Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. This is just basically a real quick video and off the fly of my thoughts about what's going on with crypto and of course money and life in general. As you know, I just moved back from a year in Indonesia and previous to that 10 years in China. So I left China for a weekend thinking I'm going to go on holiday to Bali. Corona kicked off, I had to stay in Bali. I ended up staying a year and a half in there, and then I've decided to come back to UK because I want to see whether or not I can basically integrate with the world here in the UK. Obviously, being in Asia for so long, it's such a different concept of culture and how people treat you differently, especially obviously being a foreigner or basically being an expat in another country. They've got totally different culture, and obviously I'm kind of treated in this kind of different way, but moreover, it's the style of life that I really like in Asia. And what I believe to be the problem we've got going on in the UK and the West, mainly down to the fact that this kind of whole woke idea that everyone is equal, it ends up not making everyone happy and not making everything equal at all. In fact, it has the complete opposite. The more you push people to do things that naturally or genetically or whatever you want to say in their genes they don't want to do, you just make people unhappy. And I think what's happening in the West at the moment is it's unsettling for the natural way of life. You know, take for instance, in the US, you have people complaining about everything that's going on. You have obviously racism, which, you know, is a bad thing, but in Asia you don't have it. People just get on with what they've got to do, and they understand that people do take an opinion on someone else based off the way they look, whether that's their skin color or whether that's the way they dress or whatever. You always naturally deep down inside you take an opinion based off the way they look. It's natural. It's a natural defense system. It doesn't mean that you have to have inherent racism built into laws in a country, which is what people complain about in the US, which I just don't believe to be true. You still have that. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you pretend to be woke, you still form an opinion on someone based off how they look, mainly how they dress or how they approach. Now, are we going to start coming up with a word dressism, where you basically say it's illegal to think differently of someone because they're wearing their pants around their ankles and trying to act all gangster? No, this is just natural, the way the world is. Obviously, this is a dangerous video for me to post, and I'm just talking as I feel. But this whole wokeness, it's damaging to everything in society, in my opinion. In Asia and in China, certainly, you don't have time to think about this. You have time to make money, be successful, and send money home to your parents. If you're not, from a well-to-do family, if you're in one of the lower classes, you obviously have no time to be hood or gangster or in like a group of kids that are hanging around the street corners trying to cause mayhem. It's just not allowed in China. There's no time for it because these people need to work to survive. And I believe that in the West, too many people have become comfortable with the way of their life, and they've become entitled, and they believe it's their right to exist and have access to all of these freedoms that people have fought and died for over centuries to build that culture. And now they don't value it, and therefore they're complaining about everything that exists. And I just think it's so wrong, certainly when I'm coming from what I've seen in China and the poverty that there was in China. Obviously, over the last 30 years, they've massively improved and taken a huge percentage of their population out of poverty. And they've done that through capitalism, which people in the West kind of hate. Certainly in America, there's a big movement on the left to go to socialism, which is just, in my opinion, utter madness. And it's what happens when there's too much decadence. There's too much about the individual. Okay, yes, the individual is important. You need to have your rights and be protected, but you overstep the limit when the government has to start appeasing to those small percentage of people that shout the loudest at the cost of everyone else. Now, the way it works in China is that the government anyhow, they come up with ideas that are best for the country, not necessarily the individual. I don't believe that they're evil or they have these great communist ideas. They just believe they want to make the country the best place for the most amount of people. And yes, sometimes a small percentage of people suffer. But in the long run, they have these 60-year plans which they're making. And that's why Shanghai now is one of the best cities in the world. You compare China to America. America has no high-speed rail at all. It's absolute insanity. And China has built the biggest high-speed rail network in the world just in 30 years. It's absolutely crazy. And that's because they've got a much more efficient way of life. People aren't constantly complaining about it. And you look at the UK, Boris Johnson comes up with an idea. Of course, the opposition are going to say that's crap, that's rubbish. No matter what idea he comes up, he can't do anything right because there's always an opposing idea. And what I have noticed since coming back to England is I listen to LBC a little bit sometimes, which is the local radio station where people phone in and have their opinions. And people phone up and they have their opinion about the government, how it's terrible and they're terrible people and they're doing a terrible job. It's so embarrassing because these people don't have any idea. Their opinions come from what they read in the newspaper, which is complete sensationalism anyway. And their ideas also have problems and they can't do anything about it anyway. All they can do is complain, complain, complain. And I just think it has this really bad negative impact on happiness and culture in the UK. Obviously, I don't know what it's like exactly in the USA, but I can see similar problems occurring. Whereas in China, yes, okay, they have all the news is controlled by the Communist Party, and when they go tyrannical, or if they go tyrannical, might not be the best things. But with our concept of democracy and the way of the world works, or the way our culture works in England, it's so unproductive. It's just, you just cannot get anywhere because you're constantly fighting with someone, even if you've got the right idea. And everyone's so negative about what's going on. It's all their problem, where they don't need to worry about these things. These things won't actually change and won't affect their life in any way whatsoever. They're just pissed off because they've read some sensationalist headline in the newspaper and reacted about it. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm struggling to deal with coming back in the UK, is all of these kind of opinions which really can't be acted on and are based off absolute nothing. So they're just kind of pointless. I think that there needs to be a new form of democracy, a combination between the way China is and the way we are in the UK, that balances out and protects us against tyranny, but enables much more efficiency in the way that the country is run and encourages people to be successful, not encourages people to complain about their rights, it's my right to healthcare, or it's my right to, have a plasma TV or an LCD TV or whatever it is. They are not your rights. You don't have any rights when you come out of when you're born. Okay, you just exist. Your only right is your fight to survive. And I think as soon as you take away someone's requirement to do something to survive, people just become inherently unhappy. And I think that's what we have in the West. The West has too much support, too many support systems from the government where people can just do nothing, exist and complain about everything. Whereas if they had to actually do something to survive, I think you'd find they wouldn't be complaining about anything. And it's another interesting concept. Actually, people's happiness is all relative. If you're in a poor, struggling country and you're having to go, and you're one of those kids that's mining all the lithium for Elon Musk's Teslas, you're probably not actually that unhappy because everyone else around you is doing the same thing. This is just life. This is just expected. This is how it is. Whereas if you're in the West and you've not got a job, you're just getting paid from the government, you're a bit fucked up in the head because you think, oh, I'm like maybe I'm gay, maybe I'm trans, whatever. All these ideas being put at you which are just, maybe unhealthy, I don't know. Obviously that's very contentious as well. This is just me thinking my mind. But you're not having to do anything. So your mind just goes crazy. And for me, it's not good. There needs to be a balance. There has to be something where people need to be driven, need to do something to survive or contribute to society, enable for us to go forward as a nation, certainly in the UK. Now, obviously, everything I've said in this video was just me speaking from my heart, and it's not something that I've normally do. Obviously, my channel is all about cryptocurrency, and it's all about how to kind of make money and this kind of thing. But life isn't all about making money. Life is really about the pursuit of happiness, in my opinion. But people get very skewed on what is happiness. Money does not relate directly to happiness, certainly. I've been in Bali for a long time. I've lived the best life you could ever imagine. I play golf every day. I wake up in a beautiful villa. There's girls everywhere. I can play anything I want. I have a maid cook all my food, all my clothes. I do nothing, and I have a great life. But it doesn't give you fulfillment. What gives you fulfillment is success and progress and doing something, achievements, something you can be proud of, something you can tell your friends about, something people can see and respect you for. And I think the more and more I live or stay in the UK, because obviously I'm back for a while, I see that this is really starting to miss from society. People are not being awarded for being successful or being the best. And it's very frustrating. Anyway, that was a very strange kind of video that I just wanted to try with the new camera angle. I've used my iPhone to record it, so hopefully it's good enough. I'm going to post this video today. If you guys don't like it, I will delete it, but these are just my thoughts on how I feel. It'd be great to hear what you think. Put in your comments down below, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Crypto Money Life.